Hello, I'm Alice, Education Consultant from LCP. And today we're going to be looking at iTrack and this is designed for people who are in and dealing with the admin parts of iTrack. So, as you can see, we are currently on the What's New page, which is hopefully where you have found this webinar. Now you can see that there is this menu on the left-hand side. I'm just going to slightly move my camera here. I'm actually going to go to the home page here. So this is the home page. You don't need to hugely worry about this page as admin, unless obviously you're analysing the data. So where we're going to go is actually into the admin section, which is here. Now I'm going to be talking you through some of these pages. So the first and perhaps most important is the import pupils function. Now, what this does is it allows you to bring through things like the filters that are correctly, also like their attributes, so for example, the gender, ethnicity, SEND code, that sort of thing, as well as new pupils as well. It will also remove children if you are at the end of an academic year. So obviously like now, for example, any children that left over the summer holidays will be removed. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can either do a CTF transfer. So that would be going onto your MIS system, so something like Sims or Arbor. Obviously, creating the CTF and then importing it in. The file destination is irrelevant. It's just you need to save it on the computer to be able to then browse the file and import it in. It should always include all pupils in the school. The second option, and perhaps the easier option, is the ability to import children using our button wand. Now, the button would appear around here. Now, because I'm not a real school, obviously I'm doing this as a demonstration, I don't have wand because I need to be a real school for it to work. So this magical button that is about here, you should be able to click it. It should link up to your MIS system and it should pull the children through nice and accurately. So that's a really easy way to do it. Now, if you ever want to check that the children are pulled through, what you can do is head to pupil details, select a year group of your choice, and you should then be able to see the children's names and decide whether that is the right number of children or if there is somebody still missing. With one of the most common things in for September is that some of the reception children haven't pulled through even when you're clicking wand, and that will be probably because the UPN numbers aren't in at that stage, and the UPN numbers need to be in on your MIS system. So that is import results. Now, the other thing that may be asked of you is to import the SATs results. Now, the SATs don't automatically come through, so that will also need to be a CTF transfer. If you've done a CTF transfer on import pupils rather than wand, that will also work. This page just allows you to specifically import the SATs. And again, the same process as before, creating a CTF, making sure the SATs results and the phonics and EYFS outcome are all on the system, and then just simply importing the results. So nice and easy. So that's import statutory results. Now, as I mentioned, when you import children, I mentioned that obviously it will remove children if it's the end of the academic year. But one of the things it doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to remove children if it's in the middle of the academic year. So if you need to remove children from that middle of the year or even like after that first term, you'll need to go to transients. What you would do here is you would select the year group, select the academic year, and the academic year, just to clarify, is if you're wanting to do it like historically. So for example, I'm looking at the year one current year group, but actually the child left in reception, so I need to remove them then. In this instance, I'm just going to look at them currently. So I press go, just let that load. And what we need to do is, you can see there's lots and lots of ticks here. And what we need to do is just double click and on the point that child has left, and you can see it changes to an X. What you can also do is obviously restore them back at any given time, or you can just double click and that's going to change it back to a tick. And that's obviously if you have a child come and go. So transient is for children who have left during the academic term. So let's also look at the next thing. So there's a couple of other things we need to look at, and the next is the convert FS data. Now, sometimes in iTrack, particularly for the analysis, the EYFS data isn't showing, and teachers may go, oh, I want to see the EYFS data for a year 1 or year 2 or year 3 child. Just to show you what I mean there is if, for example, in enter assessments, if I click my, I'm going to choose year 2 as this example, and I'm going to select them in reading. Now you can see here, once I let that load, I can see their EYFS outcome. So what we can do there is an ability to convert that and bring that into the system. And what you simply need to do is go to convert FS data. What you would do is select your year groups that you wanted to convert. So it might be, for example, year 1. I would choose which library I wish. So standard is the current sort of brand new curriculum that came in last year, or there's legacy, which is the old curriculum. So that's going to apply at this stage for year 2, 3, and so on and so forth upwards. You would then choose your threshold as to what is classed as expected. This is taking the subscores into account. And where I mean subscores, what that means is you've got the, for example, ELG, some, most, and all, or you've got, depends on your school's language that they've chosen. It might be worth checking with your EYFS lead if you're not sure on that. And then you just simply convert the data, and that will then bring through the correct EYFS. So that is all about converting FS data. Now, a few other things that you may have to do as admin assistant is you might need to set up filters. And to do that, what you would head to is manage attributes. Now, this is where you're going to make a filter. So I would choose my attribute name. So for example, I'm just going to choose LCP as a bit of an example. I can also delete filters. So you can see here, I'm going to delete one. I choose my attribute type. So yes, they're in that group. No, they're not. Or a text box function. I'm going to show you text box. There's a little bit more to it than just yes, no. And we save the attribute. So that has made the filter. Only people with an admin login for iTrack can do this. So your teachers can't make a login. Can't make a filter. Let's get my words correct. So that is the how to make a filter. Now, what you obviously need to do is allocate children to that filter. And to do that, where you would head to is pupil details. You would need to select school attributes because this is ones that are specific and bespoke to your school. Core ones are ones that come standard on every single account on iTrack, and it feeds very much from the CTF. So let's go to school attributes, and I'm going to select my group. So we want to look at LCP, so I'm going to choose LCP, and I select a year group this is relevant for. So I'm going to choose year 2. And you can see that text box appear. So I can then fill in the information as needed. So you can see here that I'm going to put a few different options. Now you can see I've written reading twice, and that just means that obviously one has got a capital letter and one hasn't. So in this instance, when I do use the filters, it's going to appear as 3 different options, which is obviously not ideal. So do make sure that your capitalization, spelling, full stops are all the same, and spacing are the same throughout. So what you can also do is you can export pupil attributes to a CSV file. And when you do that, what will happen is that you have the ability to manage lots of different attributes at the same time. So lots and lots of different filters. So that is also another way that you can do it. So it's kind of up to you. And obviously you would then import it using the import attributes after you have made those alterations. So that's another quick way to do it. So that is pupil details. Now, a couple of other things that you may have to look into, and one of them is assessment locking. This is where you can lock down assessment points. That means teachers can't change the data. They can still view it, they just can't alter it. It's very handy if they are analysing, and it also prevents data being put in incorrectly. So what I would do here is I would choose my assessment points I wanted to lock. So you can see here, I've chosen baseline and assessment point 1 and end of year. So I'm keeping assessment point 2 open. This is just for the current year. So obviously I can change for historical data as well, just by selecting the year at the top here. And I can also select specific subjects. And there is also EYFS at the bottom if I needed to do that too. So that's a very handy option. Now, The other thing that you will perhaps need to do is set up people's users. And this is where you can see who is currently a user, what type of login they are, when they last logged in, and you can also delete and edit them. Now, what I can also do is add a new login, which is here. And obviously you can then create that information as needed. There are 4 types of logins. There's the admin, which is what you can see today, has access to absolutely everything. You have teacher that has access to all of the data and a small amount of admin functionality. You've got read only, which is for TAs, anyone who wants to view the data, but they can't alter it. And the governor, which is the ability to see all data anonymized. You can have as many login types as you like. There is no cap on that either. If you do choose the teacher login, it will give you the option to allocate those people to a class as well. I'm actually going to choose admin, and then you just simply add the user. So a couple of other places to be aware of. The other is the school settings. Now, this is where you can alter the way that your account is set up. You've got the foundation stage and you've got key stage 1 and 2. Now, with the foundation stage, and if you are making any big alterations, I would perhaps get in contact with your lead contact. So that will be at this stage either Jack or I. It's me for pretty much for the south of England and part of the northeast, and Jack is the north, again, with parts of the northeast. So if you're not sure, obviously just contact info@LCP and say who's my account manager, and we can get in touch with you. Equally, if obviously you do know, obviously do contact us. Equally, you've got our support line if you need further help. But these 2 pages, generally I would seek help if you are wanting to make alterations on them, because these are quite big changes and it can impact your historical data as well. So that is the school settings. Now, there are other functionality to do with ITRACK. So there is the ability to import assessments. So that's things like your Pira and Puma tests or NFER tests. If you wanted to import them rather than doing them separately, there is a specific video for that. There is also things like editing the EYFS key stage 1 to 3 library. Again, there's a specific video on how to edit your curriculum, so do check out that video. And the parent app logins, again, there is a specific video for that. That is used for the report writer and for the profile builder. So again, I would check that out as a separate video. So they're your key things that you need to know. As I said, do get in touch if you need any help. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye-bye.